everybody? Happy 12/15/22 to you.
It is Thoughtful Thursday again, and we're going to give our thoughts about historical figures who have had an impact on fatphobia.
Fat, 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 fat. Hey, big belly, you should be proud. It don't matter if one is a crowd. Takes a big belly, thin is out, and now big belly is in. Go! Fat, 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 fat. I like to eat whatever I feel like at any given time. I don't care if it makes me look like I belong in gravity. Fat, 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 fat.
Welcome back from the theme song. So let's get into it. We'll start with the first historical figure. Now, the following historical figure is thought of as a really great person. Time magazine considers this person the second most important person of the 20th century. This is Mahatma Gandhi. Now, Gandhi did not get a Nobel Peace Prize, and that's a very good thing. At least somebody was woke back then. At least somebody was not fatphobic and realized that giving Gandhi a Nobel Peace Prize would have been very fatphobic. What makes this man a monster? It has nothing to do with the politics of India or how the British treated India. This is solely to do with the fact that he went on a hunger strike. Let me tell you this right now. It is not okay to go on a hunger strike. There is nothing good that can come from that. When you go on a hunger strike, all you're doing is teaching young people it's okay to be skinny. I mean, look at this picture. Just look at it. Look how skinny he is. That has to be the most fatphobic photo I have ever seen. And since Gandhi, that's probably the thinnest person that I have ever actually taken the time to look at. So this means that since Gandhi was that thin, possibly the thinnest person ever, and the fact that he's considered highly influential and the second most important person of the 20th century, Gandhi is by far the most monstrously evil human as a historical person. How can we candor Gandhi's evil message? Did I say that right? It's Gandhi, right? It's Gandhi, not Gandhi, right? So, how can we counter Gandhi's evil, monstrous message? Well, since Gandhi went on a food strike, workers around the world need to go on a work strike where all you do all day long is eat. You just sit at a table, you sit in your cell, wherever you have to sit, and make sure for the amount of time Gandhi was fasting, everyone else, all the workers need to gather together and start feasting. All the workers, 100% of the workforce around the world, go to your favorite fast food restaurant, order all the food you possibly can, and just keep eating. Keep doing that. Not one person should be working. The only people that should be working, like the people making your food or your mom, the only people who should be working are the fatphobic people. The fatphobic people need to make all the food so that we can go on our food strike. Fast strike. We need to go have a strike against fasting. Okay, The next person on my list is Francis of Assisi. Now, I have no way of knowing if Francis of Assisi was actually big-bellied, but he was a sissy. Francis was a sissy because he could not accept who he truly was. He could not accept his wealth. He came from a wealthy family and he gave it all up. I know I promised, or I didn't promise, I do whatever I want, but I basically said that I would avoid getting into religion. But since Francis of Assisi is not exactly a religious leader, he's just admired by a lot of religious people, I just want you to know that if you're religious, you should have a problem with Francis of Assisi, the sissy. He started this very unnecessary order called the Franciscan Order. Franciscan monks take a vow of poverty. Poverty, as we all know, leads to hunger. Hunger has either two results. Either it encourages you to eat, or it leads to fatphobia. Francis the Sissy taught us that wealth is not that important because he gave it all away. Well, let me tell you something. If you have wealth, it can be very important because it will let you eat as much as you can. Wealth may not be that important one day, because based on my proposal from yesterday's Woke Wednesday, that we can eventually have an economy by 2030 where we can have free food. So in conclusion about Francis the Sissy, he had the potential to be a great historical figure that countered fatphobia in his day, but he let us all down by giving away his wealth and taking a vow of poverty. If you're religious and this offends you, I'm sorry. If you are religious and you want to improve your spirituality, let's move on to a different person of history and religion. The hero in the field for this historical section is, drum roll please, Buddha! Not to be confused with Gautama Buddha, who was often depicted as being quite skinny. Hopefully he wasn't. Buddha is known as the Laughing Buddha or the Fat Buddha. Buddha was a Chinese monk, and as far as being a monk, he was a good type of monk, whereas Francis the Sissy was the opposite kind of monk. He was a kind of monk that taught you about self-denial. Buddha clearly is the opposite of that. And I don't need to really know the details of what Buddha actually taught. The fact that we can see images of him and understand that, and we admire him, we can understand that it's okay to have a big belly. I would love to get on his level. Honestly, the only reason that my belly is not as big as Buddha is because my mom doesn't cook for me as much as I want, and she doesn't give me enough money to order DoorDash or Postmates or Food Panda. So because of this, I asked my fans to continue supporting me on Patreon, or should I say start supporting me on Patreon. I haven't gotten any Patreon money yet. If you want my belly to be as big as Buddha, you're gonna start giving me money because, like I said, my mom is not cutting it. So I'm gonna wrap up this section. Buddha is the best. So we're gonna go over again, right? The absolute worst is Mahatma Gandhi. He is the worst historical person ever because of how thin he was. Francis of Assisi, also known as Francis the Sissy, was a good person, but he let us down because he gave away his wealth and did a vow of poverty and started a very bad order of monks. The greatest historical figure of all time is Buddha, the fat Buddha, the laughing Buddha, who was part of an order of monks who were clearly okay with being very big. So now I'm going to become a Buddhist. I'm not going to get into the details of what it means to be a Buddhist. All I have to do is know that Buddha was a very, very big boy. And I'm going to try to be like him. And with your support on Patreon, I can be as big as him. Let me give you a big hawk. Thanks for watching.